Disney Pixar's newest addition to their long line of films, Luca, brings its audience to the sprawling, fictionalized world of 1950s Italy. Or maybe little sea kids were really hopping around back then. Who's to say? Aside from that, Luca brings with it many of the things that we come to expect from Pixar movies, namely Easter eggs. With some new and some returning, let's take a look and see what's hiding in Enrico Casarosa's new world. Oh, and spoilers for Easter eggs and some story elements inbound. Our first Easter egg starts the section of Pixar staples that have to be checked off to be a true Pixar movie. Of course, I'm talking about the Pizza Planet truck. Starting in the first ever Pixar movie, Toy Story, there has been a reference to the Pizza Planet arcade in every movie since. Well, instead of the first Incredibles movie. But you may be thinking, if this is supposed to be a movie set in the 50s in Italy, how are they gonna sneak this one past the audience? Well, to fit the Italian aesthetic, the truck was transformed into a Piaggio 8, which is like a scooter van hybrid that was popular at the time. It's also made by the same company that makes the Vespa, which if you watch the movie, you'll know just how important that is for Luca. To find the Pizza Planet Piaggio, look during the final stretch of the Portorosso Cup when it's starting to rain and Luca and Alberto are being chased. You can tell it's the Pizza Planet Piaggio because of the cute little rocket on top. Pizza Planet's dedication to its customers by appearing in places it has absolutely no business being in is something to behold. Another Easter egg directed towards humble beginnings is the famous A113 that's popped up in not only Pixar movies, but many different animated and live-action projects. There's an entire list ranging from movies like The Truman Show to Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and it's even carried over into TV shows like Doctor Who to a personal favorite, Rugrats. But A113 isn't just a random string of characters that directors decided to put in their projects. It actually dates back to the beginnings of many of their careers. A113 is the name of the graphic design classroom in the California Institute of the Arts, where filmmakers like John Lasseter, Tim Burton, and Brad Bird first got their start in. The Easter egg is a symbol that connects the Cal Arts alumni and their projects together, although it has been expanded to a lot of the filmmaking community as a whole now. To find the iconic 4-character code, look no further than the train ticket that Alberto gives to Luca at the end of the movie. Just make sure to bring some tissues to that part of the movie. It can get a little misty. This next Easter egg is also a reference to Pixar's beginnings. This ball, right here, is called the Luxo Ball, which has made many appearances in Pixar movies, but first debuted in the short Luxo Jr., which was about that desk lamp that you see bouncing on the eye in the word Pixar during every film's intro credits. In the short film, however, he bounces on a ball until, spoilers, it's squished. Luxo Jr. was the first ever project created by Pixar and has even been awarded a place in the United States Film Registry by the Library of Congress in 2014. My first introduction to the ball, however, was through, hey, look at that, another Rugrats reference. Its colors are a little different, but
coincidence? I think not!
But back to Luca though. To find this one, look at the rooftops as Luca is overtaking other racers during the Portorosso Cup. It's a blink and you'll miss it moment, so keep your eyes on the right of the screen. Or just watch Rugrats. The old one still holds up, and we don't need to talk about the new one. Luxo Jr. isn't the only nod to Pixar's short film catalog either. During the part of the race that becomes a slip and slide, when everyone else brings out their umbrellas, Alberto's is the only one that's a color. While everyone else's is black, his is blue, but that's significant for two reasons. The first is a story reason. It paints Alberto and later Luca as different, and with them literally being from a different world than everyone else, that makes sense. But it's also a reference to a short film called, you guessed it, The Blue Umbrella. The short film follows a blue and red umbrella that end up falling in love. But that's not the last short film mentioned either. Consider this one a 2-for-1 special. During the credits, there's little images of the characters living their lives after the movie ends, but if you wait until the credits shift, you'll notice this little guy who bears a striking resemblance to the boy from La Luna, a short film directed by Casarosa in 2011. In La Luna, that character, Bambino, which is Italian for child, is fascinated with the moon and stars, so it makes sense that during the credits of this movie, he's drawing stars around one of the boys riding a Vespa. La Luna is about forging your own path, so it makes sense for it to get a nod right after Luca does the same. Our fourth mention to another Pixar property comes from the scene where Luca and Alberto are caught by a woman on her boat while they're in their underwater forms on their way to Portorosso. Luckily, her father doesn't notice, But if you pay more attention than him, you'll notice the name of the boat is Elena. That's also the name of Miguel's grandma from the 2017 Pixar movie, Coco. Now, it is perfectly possible that since Elena is a common name in both Italian and Spanish, that this is all just a
coincidence,
but it is pretty fun to think that sometime before her hatred of musicians, she may have spent some time in the Italian Riviera, living it up and maybe even getting her name on a boat. This movie doesn't just reference Pixar movies though, as a poster for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea can be seen. I mean, it's still a Disney movie, but it's not Pixar or animated, so it doesn't count for this. That movie is an adaptation of a book, has rumors of sea monsters, an anti-hero named Captain Nemo, and has a giant squid in it, so it's got some pretty cool stuff in it. But the reason that it was most likely included was its sea monster imagery. That, coupled with a fake movie poster with the title of Attacco del Mostro Marino, which translates to Attack of the Sea Monster, shows how the town of Portorosso feels about sea monsters and their fear of them. To catch both posters, the Attack of the Sea Monster one can be found when Luca's parents, using their landlubber disguises, are looking for him at night, and the Italian version of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea can be seen right before Luca, Alberto, and Giulia sign up for the race. I wonder how the people of Portorosso would feel about The Shape of Water though. Probably wouldn't be too happy about it actually, now that I think about it. Moving on to more standard Disney fare, considering the great lengths to including authentic Italian art and culture, there had to be a reference to one of the classics, Pinocchio. Originally penned by Italian author Carlo Collodi in 1883, The Adventures of Pinocchio is, well, Pinocchio. You know, the puppet boy with a potentially paradoxical ability to grow his nose when he lies. Well, he makes a brief appearance when Giuliana shows Luca some of the books that she has in her room. He's also shown with the two con artists who trick him multiple times, with the cat looking suspiciously similar to Massimo's cat, Machiavelli. Although, luckily for Luca, Machiavelli hasn't tried to trick him. Yet. Keeping with the classic Disney characters and characters that just like water in general, in the same scene mentioned before, you can see a toy version of Donald Duck, Disney's resident hothead. What's interesting about this Easter egg is how it connects to Giulia's character and personality. Both Donald and Giulia have a tendency to babble, as well as let some of their more aggressive emotions get the better of them. With so much of Luca's story being about acceptance and being true to yourself, it's nice to see some of the characters' personalities being shown in the things they surround themselves with. Also, just a big fan of Double D. He deserves way more spotlight and credit. Our final Pixar/Disney related Easter egg comes at the end of the movie on the train that Luca gets on. On the front of the train, you see the numbers 94608, and at first glance, it looks like a random string of numbers just meant to be the identification number of the train, but it's actually the zip code in California where Pixar Animation Studios is located. This also combines with the story element of Luca going off to school and following his dreams, while Pixar is a dream job for many people. The parallels work extremely well, and not just because of the train tracks. There won't be any more train puns, I promise. Similar to the movie posters mentioned earlier, there's several shots of La Strada, which was directed by Federico Fellini, and Casarosa has said that Fellini was one of his biggest influences during the making of Luca. And another nod to La Strada is in the beginning of the film as with another named boat. This time, the boat is named Gelsomina, which is the name of the protagonist in La Strada. Fellini's work has been lauded for its interesting blend of fantasy elements with a distinct down-to-earth feeling to them. So for Luca, it makes sense for Fellini to be such a big inspiration, given how the film is a fantastical take on a coming-of-age story similar to that of The Little Mermaid. Well, without the singing crabs, but it's another Disney movie, so it's close enough. And finally, Hayao Miyazaki is a man who needs no introduction, but for those out of the loop, he's responsible for Studio Ghibli, Kiki's Delivery Service, and this wonderful image. As previously mentioned, the comparisons to The Little Mermaid are pretty obvious, but another film directed by Miyazaki, in Ponyo, is also extremely similar. Not to mention Miyazaki's proclivity to tell stories about children exploring magical worlds. Only this time, a magical kid is exploring a world that's normal to us, but magical to him. Casarosa has named Miyazaki to be one of his other main influences, and it's easy to see how. Even the name of the Italian town that most of Luca takes place in is a reference to Miyazaki's 1992 movie, Porco Rosso, which is about an Italian World War I vet who gets turned into a dashing pig with a classy mustache. Now, if only that would have made its way into this movie too. When it comes to Pixar movies, you expect a few things: lovable characters, a fantastic premise, and lots of Easter eggs. Luca has them all, and particularly the Easter eggs are standout. At this point though, I wouldn't mind a Wreck-It Ralph style movie where all the characters interact in some weird multiverse shenanigans. Tell me that wouldn't be worth the admission alone.